Welcome to the Seventh Sense podcast. This is a space to explore, reflect, and share.
Open conversations for the heart, mind, and soul.
Hello, everyone. My name is Edna Njeri.
My name is Eugenie Oshaga.
And welcome back to the Seventh Sense podcast. First things first, how was your week?
My week is good. Productive. Enlightening a bit. Just you get to learn a bit more about yourself. Even just how you handle things. A week of growth, I want to say. An introspection. I lost my voice for a couple of days, but we're back. But I love how the week was.
I'd rate my week at like a 7 out of 10. It was super productive work-wise and content-wise. I got to work out this week almost consistently, which is great. And on the flip side, I had a stomach bug this week, so thank God I was working from home because that would have not been fun. Also, my moods have been all over the place, but I blame the medication I'm currently on. So yeah, good and bad, 7 out of 10 for me. As always, we like to start our episodes with some questions. The first question I'd like to ask you is, what kind of cult would you like to start?
I think we don't wear shoes. Like for me, that would be a cult. It's show up wherever you are, that's where you don't wear shoes. We live like in a commune. You can still hold down whatever life you live, but we just don't wear shoes.
Why?
Because I feel like your feet ground you to the earth. And with just that connection, I believe it's just, you're able to channel. Just it's a toroid. So if your battery is linked to the earth, you're able to charge faster. In my opinion, just from science.
And like the injuries and just like the ickiness of the floor.
I'm not saying don't wear shoes and don't wash your feet. Just there's hygiene that comes with it, but just don't wear shoes.
No, like the injuries, like there's glass on the floor or like someone peed over there, like that type of thing. Don't mind.
Don't mind it.
Okay, I would start a cult around a couple of things. Either like Java DAOs, like just coming up with a perfect combination of lemon, ginger, and honey, or podcasts, just because, but I don't really see how that could be a cult. Or like note-taking and organization, like a cult where we like review methods and come up with new resources and tools around organization. That would be my cult. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about relationships with friends. If you're joining us for the first time, for season 2, we have the theme of relationships that we've been carrying throughout our episodes. So far, we've done with self, with parents, with siblings, and now today we're going to talk about friends. And I think a good place to start would be the difference between a friend and an acquaintance and the boundaries that come with that.
So how would you define like an acquaintance and the difference between an acquaintance and a friend?
I think acquaintances are people that you not necessarily choose to see, but you see on a like almost day-to-day basis, maybe because of work or school. And then a friend, it's like a choice, and it's someone who like you're aligned with in terms like of like your principles, maybe your values, someone who's loyal to you, someone you can count on. So I think that's the difference, how I would say it.
I mean, yeah, I think for me an acquaintance is I know your name, maybe at most maybe both of your names. We don't know much about each other. It's just surface level things. I think our friend now is you've taken time to get to actually know this person. So that's, for me, it's a time difference between the time spent getting to exchange personalities, if I'd put it that way.
Okay, so what do you think are your boundaries between your friends and your acquaintances?
That's interesting, because do you feel like you have this discussion like with your friend being like, okay, fine, so you'll be my friend, but don't cross these lines? Or is it something that you feel like you will move and they'll get to understand it as you move? Because you see, for an acquaintance, is there really that much depth to have that type of a conversation, even for them to understand what boundaries are, even for you to understand their boundaries?
Okay, maybe boundaries is the wrong word, but I felt like, how do you differentiate how you move with your friends and how you move with your acquaintances? Like, I would say with my acquaintances, it's like just keeping it like professional, keeping it cute. There's no really... Like, you wouldn't go to the office and start telling people about your issues at home. I don't think that's like, you see, it's like a boundary, but not a boundary. Whereas with your friends, it's a bit more open. Even if you do have boundaries, it's like communicated through time and everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I was asking, yeah.
No, I got it. It was just like trying to figure out, Because my view is an acquaintance over time. You see if it's the same person at the office, maybe you sit next to each other. First day of work, you guys were acquaintances. But I think also it depends on, I don't want to say vulnerability, or just a level of openness that kind of like transform it from, because you can have boundaries within yourself, but then you get to recognize, okay, fine, this acquaintance also has boundaries for themselves, and you start to respect that about each other, and then it just grows. So I think for an acquaintance, like you're saying, it's just, we keep it professional, keep it moving. Both of you don't have even to speak about it. I think you can just read the room sometimes. With friends, you have to really be intentional and set these things out like from the start, which is not easy, but I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think the difference comes in, as you said, with time and also with choice. Like you choose to make someone your friend, and
True.
over time you build a friendship. Whereas without those two like components, you're really probably just going to remain acquaintances. So then with friends comes like circles, inner circles, main circles, all of that. Your concept of your friend groups, do you have like a main circle, an inner circle? Like how do you group your friends?
I think inner circle comes, for me, is priority, and I think it's people who understand me, people who I trust will always be there when I need them, or even when they need me. That's why I put all my priority in just curating that inner circle, just to make sure I weed out, not that there's something wrong with someone, but it's just you start to prioritize in terms of this is the energy I want to put into this relationship or the friendship. So inner circle for sure. And as it branches out, it kind of adds up. So inner circle, maybe it's like 2-3 people, and then when you go to your middle circle, it kind of like increases by 2, and these are people maybe you're in the same creative space, you kind of have like common things that you do, common interests, same mindset. And then just the outer circle is just, there's no deep connection, it's just we're kiki when we see each other. Yeah, that's how I'd put it.
For me, the concept has definitely changed, because before, all the people I considered to be my closest friends were all in one group of friends, whereas now all the people who I'm close to are different. Some of them don't even know each other. Like it's all people I'm pulling from different areas in my life. Also, my main circle is now like exclusively feminine. The people who I would say are like the people I want to invite to everything. I want to be there for everything. Whereas previously it was like a lot more male energy. And then also within that same group, we're like aligned on certain things, but I've also developed interests and priorities which maybe they're not into or they're not keen on. So that's allowed me to develop more friendships outside this circle. So it's like for me now, not all my friends are friends with each other. Like I have close friends from different parts of my life.
I mean, that makes sense. As you evolve, as you grow older, your interests change, your priorities change. What you used to like, you don't like anymore. I'd say I've had one consistent like friend from high school, and on paper we're from two different worlds. But I think it's the fact that you're able to understand that I think a bond is a bond, and just all these other things are just like extra context to whatever it is that you're talking about. But there's a bond that sticks between people. So I think the inner circle is one that, if it's really true to your truest sense and your truest form, it would rarely change because you're able to accommodate this other person's evolution. And I think that's why it's an inner circle. It's tighter because you've both evolved and both you've watched each other grow up, for lack of a better word. And so that bond stays tighter as it expands. It's like, I agree with what you're saying. It's just, as you morph, yeah. But the core rarely has to adjust. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. My core has definitely adjusted though. But I wanted to tie it back to what you said about your friend who you've been friends with from high school. So you consider them your best friend.
Facts, yeah.
So you like believe in best friends, and you believe it's like
I believe, yeah, even minusing, removing the title in itself. It's just, this is someone who's been there for you, or both of you have been there for each other through thick and thin.
Have you always had one best friend?
Now when I look back at it, there's always been just the one best friend. There are other people you've considered close friends, but I think best friend is like Like the creme, like, is it creme of the creme? Creme de la creme? Yeah. That's how I'd put it.
So you've had like multiple best friends, but it's always been one person rather than a group.
Yes, because I find it hard. Because how is it a best friend and it's a group of...
There's people who are like that. They have like 5 best friends.
I get...
They're all best friends with each other. I feel like that's more of a girl thing though. I don't know really if guys really do that. But I feel like we should talk a bit about our history and our experiences with our best friends. If you remember how those relationships went and what made you stop being best friends. For me, the first one, I feel like I don't even remember what happened, but I feel like we just got over it. Like we were best friends and then we just weren't best friends. And from there, like all the rest of my best friends have somehow screwed me over. So it's not been the best.
Yeah.
I had best friends from church and they were just assholes. Sorry to say.
That's blasphemy.
No, like
I
they,
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get.
They did come back and apologize later, like, and we tried to they tried to like make it cool again, but I was really over it. And then high school to uni, I feel like I had one best friend really. And we were super close at the beginning, and I moved school, like we were so close to the thing where you spit on your hand and you shake hands.
Mad.
Like we were so close, and then we just grew apart, and then also she talked shit, but we're still friends now, like we made up, but then we sort of fell apart and we weren't best friends.
I mean, that's
anymore.
already a pattern I'm seeing, but cool.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like I haven't had the best luck. And then in uni now, I had one best friend who was so aligned and we did like everything together, and then guess what happened?
History repeats.
Exactly. It just got super toxic. And now we're at the point where literally, like, I ran into her and we didn't even acknowledge each other's presence in the room. We literally seated like centimeters apart, and it was like, you're not even there, I'm not even there. And then now currently, I think, honestly, we have the closest friendship that I have currently in terms of like the time spent, the conversations we have, the support we have for each other, our values and all that. I feel like now I'm way more selective because of all these other experiences I've had. There's been points where I'm like, please just love me, like just be my best friend. But now I'm like, do I even want to be your best friend? Like, you know.
So at the core of it, I'm trying to like, the way you've given the timeline, I've tried to like trace back, even like from primary school, you have this like, I remember I had like 2 homies and oh my God, I want to be friends for life.
Forever.
You get, and so it's but for me, I think it's that capsule of the time. You see in the same class, so more or less your day-to-day activities are relatively the same. Your struggles are pretty much the same. So you form this bond because you have like common ideas, experiences. Because my track record has been every time I've made really close friends, best friends, like in primary school. I finished primary school, I go to high school, we never speak.
Just don't keep in touch.
You get, so I go to high school, I make a bond with like, and it's always been, it's 2 people. So now I get the concept of you can have 2 best friends. But then you see after I finished high school, we stopped talking. I get, so for me it's as you grow, and I'm going to stick to this thing for this whole episode, is the more you evolve, the more your life experiences push you. It teaches you expansion. It teaches you to let go of people, not because they're bad for you or they're good for you. It's just like you've said, it's just, it doesn't work. You get over it. And the more you cling on to things, you'll just be like not allowing yourself to grow or evolve. And that's how I want to look at it. I mean, as you've said, so this has been we've had a pretty close like friendship. It's a pretty close one, and I'm trying to think of, it's a time also it's taken from when, this is like what, 8 years now, counting. Yeah. And you see 8 years is time put into actually getting to know this person, see them experience things in their lives, and then how they dealt with it, how you supported each other. But I think of that, is that to say that, I mean, the people are going to argue it, but like platonic, like male-female friendships. Yeah. I mean, because once in a while, even when I was in a relationship, I'd be questioned about you. That also would be like, I'm trying to teach someone a concept they don't even believe in or even just trying to subscribe to.
Yeah.
You end up getting into shit but really just like, but they're really my friend. We're really best friends, so I don't see how this thing is an issue. So I don't know, that topic about platonic friendships.
Yeah. I mean, I think it works because, as I said, I had a group of male friends who I would spend like almost every day with,
Yeah.
and I wasn't romantically involved with any of them.
Yeah.
Like, but then when it comes to you being in a relationship and then your partner having an issue with your best friend, I think it depends on a lot of things. For me, it's about the part before you and your partner got into the relationship.
Yeah.
Then you can see how this person and their best friend are moving. Just then you can decide, because
Okay, so what if, let's just throw a span in the works, sorry to cut you, but so I agree with that one. If the friendship preceded the relationship, that kind of means your partner has to accept it, in a sense.
depends, I think, because before you become partners with this person, they have the chance to see how you guys move as best friends. And
Yes.
then now you won't, by the time you get into the relationship, you can
Yeah.
now start saying, oh, because you knew how this was set
Yeah.
up.
So I think the murky one is you're in a relationship, but they didn't know. But you see, it's hard for them
No,
not to
that's-
know.
yeah.
You get that this person is really my,
Best friend.
yeah.
But then I also get the fact that if you and your quote-unquote best friend have been like intimately involved, then I see why your partner is like, no. Because I think once you've had a certain level of like energy exchange, you can't really go back from it. It just takes the right situation for you and your best friend to go back into that vibe that you had. So it depends on how the boundaries between you and your best friend are, and it depends on how you've introduced your partner to this whole situation. That's what I think. What do you think?
I mean, I agree with that. Okay, because I'm trying to look at it like, just even from basic like personal experience, it was almost you're put in a corner where you have to choose. You're being told to choose between the relationship and your best friend.
What are the points being presented for you having to choose?
I think it's a part of not being comfortable. And it's a reality. Not everyone will be comfortable with that type of a concept.
True.
So it's so is it now you sit the two of them down and then you guys have a whole meet and greet about it?
This needs to happen, I think, before the relationship. It's not that now we get into a relationship and then now it's a thing. It's like if you walked into this and you knew.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel a way about
let's
it.
Clear all this up before. If you're not comfortable, let's not get into the relationship. It's not that deep. If my best friend means that much to me, let's just leave it. But it's not you have a best friend, you're cool with it, and then we get into a relationship and then it's like, so now you're best friend.
I get it. I think and I guess it's you and people who listen and maybe even just comment, it's just what's even just people's experiences with it. I feel like that one it's a varied one.
Yeah, it depends on a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's not like a fixed
way of looking
answer,
at it.
yeah.
But I do believe platonic relationships can exist. And
Sure.
like you're saying, it's your boundaries that need to be set. I think we're socialized to look at male, female as
there's something here.
there's something, it has to
Even
lead to
with
something.
parents.
Exactly.
Like your parents may not understand why you're hanging out with this male friend.
All the time.
Like,
You get.
it's
So I think it's society has socialized us to look at male, female, or boy, girl, man, woman can't be just friends.
And there's also the thing people said, like your parents, like your dad doesn't have a female best friend, your mom doesn't have a male best friend. So people are just like, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting also to think about it like that once you're older with kids.
Okay, so my thing is this. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but by the time you're getting married, shouldn't this person then be your best friend? You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So for you to come home one day, as a man, I come home to my wife and be like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with my best friend. Yeah, remember Regina? I think it's and I can't speak on a marriage, married people, but I think it's also a bit of it's a rocky ground to try and navigate once you're married.
Yeah, like being platonic friends in marriage, cool, but being best friends with someone of the opposite sex, it's a bit tricky.
It's tricky. So I think it's
also, though, depending on your sexual orientation, because then
okay,
it's
yeah,
cool.
let's not Anthony.
Yeah,
we accept everyone here.
If you're in a heterosexual relationship, then it's weird. But if you're dating a woman and you have a male best friend, it might not be the same, because it's
Okay,
like you're not really
I can't
interested.
I can't even speak on that one.
No,
I
yeah.
don't know that experience.
No, yeah, but you can imagine, a woman wouldn't be threatened by a man if your partner's a woman.
So I think then that's the part. Then it's just how secure are you in your relationship for you to be fine. You can have opposite sex if you're in a heterosexual relationship. Cool. You can have a guy best friend.
Oh,
If you are secure in yourself, I think here it boils down to you as an individual. How secure are you as a person for you to be like, okay, fine, cool. And also to remove that whole understanding, if they're friends, these guys, they must be smashing, or there must be something deeper than that. Yeah.
I think a big part of friendship in adulthood is prioritizing and making time for your friends. As I said, selectiveness is something that's come in for me as an adult. Sorry
to take you back, but what are those, like, the checklist you do for you to say, this person is now my best friend? You see, out of a group of people,
I don't do a checklist, but I think it's like a feeling. It's like a bond, like you said. It's like it's like unspoken, almost.
True.
It's like the person you realize you talk to about everything, or you share almost everything with. You guys have created like a space for each other. You always hold space for each other. Then that's when you can say you're best friends. I don't think it's like, oh, he's 5 foot, like 11.
No, I
like
didn't mean that, like checklist. But you see, what you just said right now is, someone who you've created a space is like, those are the things you try and look at, the criteria.
Yeah.
Or just the environment that's there for you to be like, oh yeah, you know what, this person actually is. So do you think, guys, like, you shake hands on it to be like, okay, fine, we're best friends? Or it's something like you said, it's just, it goes unsaid and you both just know it? But you kind of like reaffirm it once in a while.
Yeah, you kind of reaffirm it once in a while. In high school, I had that idea of like, you're my best friend. What's the like?
It's like you're married to each other as friends.
Physical display of this,
Yeah,
but
you're
now,
a couple.
Yeah, now it's just like you all both know what's happening. And yeah, as an adult, making time for your friends is an actual thing that you actually have to think about. Because you don't realize how it's like Monday, then it's Friday, then it's December, then you haven't talked to this person for like 7 months, and it's like, oh, like it's been 7 months. So I think the thing with prioritizing friendships that I've seen is I've had to see that different friends play different roles in my life. So that's been an aspect that I've used to prioritize them. The friends who I like to go out with and like have fun with are not the same friends who I would be talking to about like investments or like financial problems. Sometimes they do, but it's like you go to different people for different things.
So are friends like tools that serve specific purposes?
I wouldn't call them tools.
I mean, for lack of a better word, from your analogy, they're friends I'll have fun with. They're friends I'll talk to about investment.
Sometimes they cross over, so I wouldn't say, but there's groups of people who I wouldn't go to this person to be like, hey, do you want to go out and drink? Because we don't have that sort of relationship. And that helps me prioritize, because then I know if I'm in this space, I don't need to feel like I need to talk to everyone and text back everyone and make sure I'm in touch with everyone.
Yeah.
I know who I can go to when I'm in that space. That's been one way.
I think mine has been it's been easier. I mean, of course, especially when you start working, time is pretty much limited. I think when you're in uni, you had all the time to like spend time with your friends. But as people move into different phases of your lives, it becomes, like you said, I mean, I wouldn't sit down to talk about investments with someone who I know is not even about that type of life. It's no diss to them. I'm sure there are things they wouldn't come to talk to me about because they know I'm not into that type of thing. So I guess it's the commonalities or the common ground you can find with these people, and then you start to figure out, okay, fine. If I'm looking to, I don't know, curate a playlist on Zambian rock, I know who I can go and talk to about it. You know what I'm saying? If I want to do self-care treatments, I know who I can go and talk to about that. I think it's you being more responsible and being more, what's the word?
I actually think that's where selectiveness comes in, because if you have as you get the more clear understanding of what you need or what you want to put your energy into, then you start to be like, okay, these are the types of people who you can have like these discussions with.
I think it's how would I put it? I think it's something we'll go into later, but it's the trauma bonding. So you kind of feel like all these people bunched up kind of like help me discomfort. But I think the more you remove yourself and the more you spend time with yourself, you start prioritize what your needs are, what your vision is, and then it's up to you to be I want to say like an adult now to start figuring out, okay, fine, this is where I want my life to go to, and these are the people I feel will kind of like elevate me or will elevate each other to achieve our own individual dreams. So I think the more you adult, the more you start to figure out, okay, fine, it's cool to be cool with people, but also there's
levels.
There's levels to this whole thing, and there's also the time I'm putting in, the energy I'm putting into this, all these things. So I think, it's look at where you want to go in your life, what you want to achieve. And also, when you spend time with these people, when you leave, how do you feel after that? Do you feel energized? Do you feel drained? That kind of like helps you filter through and figure out, okay, fine. I'd rather spend more time with Edna because I end up leaving a certain way as opposed to X, Y, Z, I think reevaluate how your experiences are with them when you spend time with them.
Another part of friendships in adulthood is like communication is big, and consistent communication doesn't mean daily communication in a way. It's like you check in with each other, but just because you didn't check in with each other every single day doesn't mean you're not friends anymore. Whereas in uni and before that, it was like, text me back. Like, sometimes you're busy and your friends need to get that.
If one of your friends is working, they get to understand. Yeah, if both of you are working, you get to understand, I can't spend my whole day over here just like, doing back and forth. If both of you are not working still, you have all the time to do that chit chat. So it's like, it depends on where you guys are in your lives for both of you. You can communicate something, but as long as you guys are not experiencing kind of the same things, it's going to be lost in translation somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I think it's your phases in your lives really determine a lot of these like experiences when you have like with your friends.
Yeah, so it's important to pay attention to what's going on in your friends' lives, because then you can sort of see how their movements are aligned with yours, and how, like, sometimes your friends may have expectations of you that you're not able to meet, but then if you're looking at their situation, you can see why they would think that, and then now you can explain yourself.
True.
Another part is planning meetups and putting in the effort as an adult. When you're in uni and you see each other every day, and then you go work in like different towns, you're not going to see each other as frequently. So something I realized is you really have to make the plan, set a date and make it happen, and be like, we're going to do this again on this day. Because otherwise time like flies by and you never get to see your friend. So it's like you have to be so much more intentional.
Even like with COVID and everything, it just made me strategize, because now, I haven't done it in a while and I feel bad about it, but at least I'd make sure me and Lewis talk every week. And it's a thing, because I know I can't see you, but there's also, we both understand, like, you live into a different county. But I think it's just however way and it's in between that communication, you guys know how this relationship of yours works. So if texts work, if phone calls work, however way, it's just because also it can be out one way, you're the one who keeps on checking in on the other person. And I think that's where you also start to understand how much time am I putting into trying to make us meet. You know what I'm saying? I always believe in the universe's timing. If y'all are going to be, even see by virtue of you calling and setting a date, that's the universe's way. It made it happen. So I believe in sometimes the universe will bring you guys together when it needs to. Other than that, I think a phone call, a text, just, the simple end of the week, how's your week,
Yeah.
Can work. Yeah.
For sure.
I think another thing is, even as you're adult, and if it's really your inner circle friends, try also spend time with their families. Because I believe in when you see someone in their home setting and you see how their parents are, how their siblings are, it gives you a better understanding to how this person was brought up, kind of lends you to understand, okay, so a certain thing, this is why you are the way you are. You've talked to me about it. We've talked about all these things, but not being able to see it. And even for their parents, they know if anything ever happens, good, bad,
they know
this is someone I actually can reach out. This someone is actually always with my son, daughter.
It's so important actually for your parents to know your friends.
To know your friends. I think it's
even
a mature,
numbers,
it's a progression,
like
to have that thing, just know their parents, interact.
True.
The amount of intentional time you'll set to meeting, also like go to their house, like set a lunch date to go to their house. I know COVID and everything, but when things normalize or whenever they do, it's something I actually really want to do. I've known Lewis, 10 years. And I've only met the mom. But we never actually sat down, had lunch together. You know what I'm saying? So things I want to do, I should be able to call Lewis's mom to be like, hey, can we go for lunch? That's the way I want to take now. I'm thinking about now sitting down. I'm like, yeah, something I really want to do now is just meet your friend's parents. It's a nice way to... It's the most adult thing you can do, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So with like your circle or like your friends, when you have mutual friends, let's say table and chair are having an issue. Are you the type of friend who's gonna pick a side, or are you the type of friend who sits on the fence when there's like drama?
I used to be I sit on the fence because I want to please both of them. But due to like previous experiences I've seen maybe past 1 year, 2 years, I pick a side now because I think I'm more informed of my opinions, more informed of my principles, my morals. So I feel like if you go against what I stand for, I should be able to call you out.
Yeah.
And if both of you are still not like, I can still also be like, you know what, screw both of you. None of you is even making any sense. So nowadays I pick a side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think not choosing a side is still choosing a side, because I've also been sitting on the fence, but it's still okay. Okay, I'm not okay personally. People usually like, don't make your friends choose sides. I'm not okay with my friends. Friends, not acquaintances, not friends.
Yeah.
Like kikiing with people they know I've had issues with, or I've had a major like fallout with. I just don't see why.
But shouldn't they be
it's
allowed?
Like a measure of loyalty.
But shouldn't they be allowed to choose to be friends with that person the same way they're
that's
choosing?
what I'm saying. They choose. It's not both. Like, you're not going on this side and this side. You need to choose, because that's how your loyalty shows.
Okay, wait. So table, chair, and desk. All these people are friends. It's gonna be confusing. A, B, C. The three are friends. And let's say, for example, Shaga is friends to A, friends to B. But then something happens between me and A. Okay, fine.
Let's
yeah,
just
the three of us there, we are here.
Yeah.
Bukachi, yourself, and myself. So me and Bukachi fall out. Cool. We were three friends. Me and Bukachi fall out. But then, so what you're trying to say is I can't, or I shouldn't allow, Yes, I shouldn't be happy with you kicking it with Bukachi.
If I'm kicking it with you. It's
So I'm
up
supposed to
me
pick one.
Me, not you.
Yeah.
Me, who's in the middle of these two friends,
Yeah.
should be able to maybe talk to both of them separately, understand where they're coming from, speak to them about it if it's like a thing that can be reconciled, and if not, choose who I'm going to stand with, and that's it. Like, I'm not gonna go on this side and be like, I don't think they should have done that, and then go on this side.
No, I get that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like loyalty. It doesn't mean I never speak to Bukachi again. It just means there's gonna be a boundary about, okay, we can't hang out like the way we used to hang out. I don't agree with what you did or XYZ, and this is how I think we'll move forward.
No, I hear that.
Because I've not chosen a side before, and I know it was me being disloyal and me just trying to like see what happens next, you know. But again, it also applies when it's a serious thing, not like someone is bickering with someone else and then you're like, no, I'm choosing a side. Like, it's like when it's a thing. That's when.
I mean, it should be something like, a small thing should be able to be hashed out.
Yeah.
But it actually goes against like things you stand for morally, principally. I don't think there's time to start being nice or be friends with everyone. It's just like, there you cross the line and we move. If you can own up, that's fine. And CRT, you're the highest judge of morals. But if it's just, your own principles at this point in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, just not picking a side is, you're trying to be just to please everyone.
Yeah.
You're trying to hold on to both of them. Yeah.
And it's like, why? You can't be friends with everyone anyway.
Can't.
So it's also important to be able to, as you said, call out your friends. I saw a tweet that was like, your friends should be able to correct you and you still remain friends with them. Your friends, so like your friends correcting you shouldn't be like, oh, they secretly hate me now. This is how they've always felt. It's like, if I'm your friend, I should be able to be honest enough to be like, you did this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cool. But I think it's the how also.
It's the how, and it's the. This also, like, I feel like it's just a whole season in itself. Boundaries, because if we've established certain boundaries between us, you should be able to take my criticism as this is what it means. If our relationship has a lot of things get lost in translation, like, you know, words mean different things to different people. So I might say something and you might take it away, and I was just generally trying to express what someone felt, they're just trying to, like, you know, correct you on something. So mine would be, yeah, you can call someone out, but in the same breath, you also have to understand how they receive information or correction.
How, yeah.
I've never been a big advocate of reworking your form of expression to suit someone else's acceptance of it. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It comes from, if we're both adults, you know how I speak, I know how you speak. If I say something, I don't think it should be taken out of the context of how you know I speak. I don't think it can be turned into an elephant if it was a mouse. So I think being able to call out your friends, it's maturity. Yeah, I think being able to call out your friend when they're doing something or moving in a different way, whatever it is that they did, if you really are really friends, I think it gets easier with your inner circle. Because at least you guys have a stronger bond, so it's going to be like, oh, okay, fine, cool, I get you. You can be able to have a rational conversation about it, as opposed to people who just jump on the defensive and start even just pulling receipts from things you've done previously. You get, so you're just like, they're not as a friend of me, I'm just trying to look out for you.
Yeah, but it's also some real shit. It's not like a fun thing to be called out or to have to apologize, but it's a necessary part of
maturity.
Growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I love the thing that you always say, where it's like, I'll always have your back in front of people, even if you're wrong. I'll have your back.
Facts.
I'll go correct you, in
yeah,
private. Like, it's not that, you know, you're calling your friends
no.
out in front of everyone. Like, you did this. It's
no.
The how is a major part of how they'll take it also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe calling out it's facts. It also has to do also with you being scared that if you correct them, you lose them as a friend. You get that concept of, now they won't be friends with me, so let me just keep quiet. Let me accept everything that they do. I get all those things can go through your head. I mean, I've been there before. The people I also know, I haven't called out on the things they've done, and it's something I should be able to do, but also is it in my place to start calling them out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's important actually, to know your place.
Yeah, just know. You can see someone moving away, but then it's the... But even if, let me just work on me. At least I have a bit of, like, grounds to come back and say, here.
Yeah.
Or if they ask
that's
I feel like, but up you're just standing and you'll be like, hey, you and then
this,
you, and then you. Nah, you can't be out here like that. So, yes, so we both agree. You should be able to call out your friends.
Major. And then,
but is there something I've ever called you out on and you felt like, you don't have to give it a step, but you felt, okay, fine, you know what? I get what Shaga is trying to say. I just didn't appreciate how it was said.
For sure.
Okay.
Me?
Yeah. But you see, that's the thing. We're still sitting here.
Talking, yeah.
Yeah.
And also it's the thing of, if you know someone as your friend, sometimes you see how parts of their personality come into play in certain things that they do.
Yeah.
Or you can understand, if you know someone and, for example, you know their attachment style, you can see how certain things come into play.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I get where you're coming from. It may not be true. I may not agree with it. I may not like how you said it, but I get where you're coming from. And that's like the principle of it.
Okay.
So, and then there's friendship breakups or betrayals by friends.
So I saw this thing, I think it was a quote from, is it like Oprah magazine? I don't know it's even Oprah who said it herself, one of the writers. And they're just like,
when were you reading Oprah magazine though? Like, we're not just gonna skim past that.
So I was doing this thing for friendship breakups. Because as a guy, it's not a concept that I've actually experienced. I feel like with...
What? You've never had a friendship breakup?
It's not actually breakup. It's just like with guys, the fact that we don't communicate emotions or we don't speak on... Let me not normalize that.
Toxic masculinity.
Exactly. So it's we'll drift apart and we drift.
You still broke up.
You
Whether you ghosted each other
exactly.
or
So you're saying. So I had to like do some research about it. So it was saying our brains don't recognize the difference between a romantic breakup and a friendship breakup.
The worst feeling.
And then I was just like, facts. And so I don't know. I feel like from what you've explained today in your timeline, you've been through it a couple of times.
Yo. So what's for you, like, what's the things that are unforgivable? Where do you, like, end the friendship? Even if it's just ghosting. Like, what are the things for you that you're like, this as a matter of principle, I will not stand for it?
Two timing. I think for me, just being two-faced is something I just don't stand for. Like, you can't come say one thing to me and then you act a certain way when you're with me,
Different
but then
people,
other people you act. I feel like I can't trust that. If you're a chameleon in, like, your circles, then I can't.
Yeah.
I need some consistency.
Also, with such people, when everyone else is usually the problem, like everyone's always doing things to you, that's like a red flag for me. I'm always like, no. But one major thing is like people who are super like unapologetic, like someone who will do something to you and be so unapologetic about it and just like move like it didn't happen. So you tell them and then you have to keep repeating yourself. It's just like,
I get that one. Then also there's your issues. They like trivialize your issues or like your experience. Like, you go and tell someone, hey, but
I
went
frenemies because I have stories.
So when you talk about, like, you tell her, yo, this is how I'm feeling, and then it's trivialized. I never appreciate that. And when someone does that, for me, it's just red flag. I'm like, nah.
No.
You don't get to say if something is important, not important. It's how I feel, So if it's something I've been through, just take it as face value. So I think when someone does that for me, I'm always like,
okay,
another
noted.
one. Yeah.
I think the only positive side of like friendship breakups is you're saving yourself from like more betrayal and more disappointment. It hurts and everything, but it's like you're saving future you from a repeat
toxic
of the same thing happening.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, you're saving yourself. It's a cycle. Like, it's just, I'm big on loops. So I feel like if you've been through something with a friend and it happens, so when I see the loops, I'm always just like, I'm quicker to being like,
honestly, same. At this point, I can end a friendship because I'm fed up. Like, sometimes it doesn't even have to be that deep. Like, sometimes, as in, you just get tired.
Yeah.
And that can be reason enough.
And I feel like some friends have like a shelf life.
True.
You get, so it's however way we met, bonded, if there was no depth to it, it's gonna have a shelf life to it. And the more you cling on to it, the more you'll get frustrated with this person.
Other,
So it's just, you're better off just being like, you know what, cool. I respect and honor the human being you are, what path you're on in your life. And I wish you all the best. Not to say that I won't see you somewhere and just like, duck. It's just like, cool, I'll still like dab you up, but
yeah, there's
still love, and there's no love lost. It's just like we're not serving the same.
You can't just like be loyal and just be
blindly
like, following this,
so I think
sticking to this friendship.
Another thing is just like, that blind loyalty
to
your friendships.
Yeah, because just because you've been friends for a while doesn't mean you can't like just fall back a bit with love.
Yeah.
It's not like I hate you, but it's like we're just not on the same page. And I think your loyalty always needs to be matched. That's like the principle of it. So someone's actually doing their best not to let you down, not actively letting you down, and then you make up and then they let you down and then you even
respect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about frenemies. Frenemies are friends who secretly hate you. I don't really know if boys have frenemies or if this is like a girl thing. Also, I should probably stop saying this boys thing.
Nah, it's fine. That's just how it is. I think I've experienced frenemies.
What is it like for boys? Like they steal your girl or something?
Now you can imagine, okay, because I can't speak on like a feminine experience, but just like testosterone is a thing. So you can imagine the competitiveness that is just inbuilt in boys. Not to say the girls are not, but like, can you imagine like in sports? Like, everybody wants to show out. So it's I think it's both of you know you're good at something, but you can low-key just tell like they're not really rooting for you. They know you're good at what you're doing, but it's just
that's like a major thing. People who aren't happy for your achievements or are super competitive and they're your friends and not your friends. They don't actually
So
like
I
you.
stay away from that frenemy energy because I feel like it kind of has the same effect like as evil eye. So you're my friend, but I can tell there's things you're doing.
You're like also passive aggressive or low-key.
About different things.
Like you low-key make some remarks where it's like, Did you just see that? Like, that was a bit
And they laugh
rude.
it like, haha. So,
But you caught it. It's like, I
Yeah.
peeped what you just said.
so for me, yeah, I've experienced it. But I think the older I've gotten, even the wiser I've gotten, is just you get to figure out, I don't need you in my life now because it's just not
Rather
serving.
Yeah.
It's just not doing. This energy's off. But like for you, is it okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like girls kind of like, you guys will smile at each other or hug each other, do everything, but at the back of one of y'all's minds is, I just don't fuck with this shorty.
Yeah, but the signs show themselves. That's the thing. You just have to be on the lookout for it. Like what you're saying, the competitiveness, the comments people make where it's like a joke, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Also, people talking behind your back. Like you tell X something, and then you hear about it from Y, who was never there for the conversation, and you're like, how did you know this if I only told this person?
Yeah.
That's probably someone who's not, because it's never usually at the good things. It'll be like something you told someone in confidence, and
Yeah.
then someone else repeats it to you. It's like, and then also people creating situations where you're painted like the aggressor. Like someone will consistently be weird and be like making these remarks, and then when you speak about it, they're shocked and they're like, why are you so aggressive? That's
So
like
yeah,
a
so for me, it's
frenemy
always
thing.
been that thing. You say your side of the story without really hearing both sides of the story. So people are always, I've experienced who will go with one side of a story and make a whole conclusion of it.
Yeah.
People have learned just to be like, nah, then I really can't. Because if you were really my friend, you'd come and ask on this other side, yo, but what happened here? So yeah, so people who make conclusions off one side, I'm always just like, I'm wary of such people. A foundation of a friendship is trust. And so if I can't trust you to have my back when shit has hit the fan, then I don't even expect you to be there when shit is actually good.
You know.
Yeah, I don't want you there. It might sound rude, but also it's just like, there's no space for that.
Let me tell you guys a story about one of my frenemies. So I had this friend who always like would
But
try
then
to
she's
be
triggered. There's something in her eyes.
super close to me. Like she would always be like, she lives like in a different world from where I live. She would always be super involved like in my shit, but I would get weird vibes from her. So like I would go to her house and her mom would just be so weird, or her sisters would be like really weird, but I'm like, at the same time, she'll have like a thing and she'll invite 4 people and she'll make sure one of the 4 people she'll come and pick me up, and she'll
But wait, what do you mean by the parents would be weird or siblings
like,
would be
do you
weird?
know when you can tell like you're just not
The vibes are
welcome,
just
like
not-
you're not like it's like really weird. And then also her sisters would like unfollow and then follow me back. And then the most weird thing is, so at my graduation she gave a speech and she started crying and she was like super dramatic, and then my grandma came to me and she's like, "Hey, that one, she's too much. It's not necessary for her to go that far."
Word up to grandmas. They have
Like
like
moms know, but
grandmas have
is
like a
next
seventh
level.
sense.
And I was like, seventh sense. And I was like, like she's tripping. Why is she tripping? Like she was
Yeah.
just being emotional because she loves me and she's proud of me.
Dust.
I
Cap.
mean, finally, I just blocked her.
Yeah.
Blocked her off everywhere without notice. Like I was just like, it keeps being this
But
thing
wait,
where.
so you didn't have a conversation with her to be like, oh,
So what had happened is, at one point in time we fell out and we stopped talking completely. She came back, we made up, and then her sisters would follow and unfollow me, or her mom would just be weird, or it
oh, I
would
thought you
just
were gonna say the mom would follow and follow you.
no. And I would just be like, what are we doing? I just got fed up, so I just blocked her off everything. But she had most of those signs, like the passive aggressiveness or the super competitiveness. And yeah, I think with frenemies, just pay attention to what energy people are saying, are bringing to you, and what they're saying. So
and how
major.
they're saying it.
How they're saying it.
Yeah.
And also trust your gut. And then just create distance between you and these people accordingly.
Fact. That I agree. 100%.
There's toxic friendships. We have to talk about toxic friendships.
So what's a toxic like friendship?
For
A
me, it's
toxic
the
friendship.
signs. It's the signs. It's like there's always drama. Always drama. Like there's always something that's happened. And then there's like zero boundaries.
Yeah.
Like
There's that, and then there's the fact that they encourage like your worst habits.
Oh my
You get
god.
so for someone who quit smoking, I'm normally like very wary
Figgy.
of someone who's just like figgy. Ashagi could just one
Why?
figgy. You know, so
Yeah.
that I
Not
already checked for
supportive.
right now. Or thing that you stopped doing. So people just encourage your worst traits. I'm always just like,
Or people who lie for weird things. Like, it'll be me and you, and we know this story, and you already told me this story. But then X will come into the conversation, and then
Yeah.
it'll be a different story. Like, you're trying to, like, get sympathy or trying to, like, seem a certain way. Toxic
that's
friendship.
one. I think there's the like the friendship only works on their time. So it's when they need you, when they're going through something, they need you, and you when you're going through something,
It's like you don't
apparently
exist.
they're not as available as you are for them.
Yeah.
So it's that like energy.
That's
If you're
actually
putting in like
part of
more
trauma
effort
bonding.
into the friendship, that's already a toxic one. But at the same time, I just want to say, I don't think toxic friendships or toxic people are like villains. Some of them are even just unconscious. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them just don't even know
No,
that
yeah.
that's how they are. For them, that's
That's how they move.
you get. And maybe they don't even have boundaries, so they'll say what they want, when they want, how they want.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's also be able to on the lookout, so that you don't put yourself in a situation where you're actually pointing people out to be like, oh, you're toxic. Maybe you're actually toxic to someone else, and you don't
And
even
you
have
don't
an
even
idea.
know, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's I think check out for those traits. Even check
Also,
them
how
within
they
yourself.
speak about the other friends, I feel like is a good
Hey,
way.
that one I'm normally just like, that's a red flag. Hey, that's a major one. If you always come
Like, that's how
serving
you
the
feel.
tea about other
And you're
people,
with this person all the time.
hey,
So
I'm
now
like,
me,
sembuse.
right?
So yeah, I think that one for sure. For sure.
I think it ties also to trauma bonding. So
That.
trauma bonds are usually a result of an unhealthy attachment. So, for example, if you're familiar with Stockholm syndrome, it's a type of trauma bonding. So, an example of how it would look like in a friendship is, imagine a cycle where you and your friend, it's like they're rewarding you and then they're punishing you. So they ignore you for like weeks, and you see them hanging out with other people, you see them talking to other people, and then suddenly they start talking to you again as if nothing happened. It's like that push and pull. It's like almost a form of abuse if you think about it.
I mean, trauma
Because-
is something abusive and it must have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they take advantage of you, but you know you're being taken advantage of,
Yeah.
but you're staying because you feel like it's just like, I understand why they're being like this. I know they're like, you want that validation, you know this is not permanent. I understand where they're coming from.
So trauma bond is the codependency
Yeah.
that you guys have, and I think trauma bonds are kind of also formed, you see, depending on the experiences we've shared, especially like traumatic ones, whatever it is. If we've talked about these things and we see like there's a correlation with what we've experienced,
We're
then you
attached.
start being like, oh, okay, fine, cool. So I'm not weird for having gone through what I went through, and you've accepted me telling you about it. You haven't started acting weird, so it means this shit is okay. It's okay, cool. This works.
Yeah.
The scary part comes in now when someone is aware of what you've been through and they use that to their advantage consciously, kind of like just to get their way with you because they know you've been through X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And the trauma bonds become really hard to
Break.
be aware of, especially if you guys kind of like you numb most of your pain together using the same things. So from alcohol to drugs to whatever it is that you do, just to try and like numb the
It's like
pain.
you guys lose yourselves in the friendship, but it's not really a friendship. It's
It's
like
not. It's just like
this
you accept
bond that
me.
you've
Yeah,
created,
I
yeah.
feel safe here, accepted. But for all
and
the
then
wrong reasons.
the reality is like, this person has used this thing against me, for example. I don't actually trust this person.
Yeah.
But I'm so attached to them, I can't just detach and move on. Like, it's like you feel like you're almost being controlled by this person.
So it's something here. So I think when you bond over like your wounds, you start being accepting of the other person's behavior. So you're
You
just
make
like,
excuses
oh,
for
okay, fine. You
them.
rationalize whatever it is that they're saying or doing and how they're working, because you're just like, you know what, I understand. They've been through this, so it's okay.
And it's only me who understands.
Yeah,
them,
so let me just keep doing it. I feel like you can be in a trauma bond like friendship and you'd never realize it. It takes one of you guys to have like to flip a switch to be like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
What are we doing to like go through? If one of you stands up to be like, I think we should try therapy, or yeah, we should try and think about why to deal or how to deal with her, whatever it is that we went through, as opposed to we just know this thing we went through together, and so we share that commonality.
We have to talk about being like solid friends. With everything we've talked about, how can you be a supportive friend, and how can you know that you're also surrounded by supportive friends?
I think one being a supportive friend requires you to remove your ego from your friend's life. You should be able to be happy for their own successes, their own progression, what they're doing.
Support them like you want to be supported.
Yeah. Being supportive means, this is how I look at it. If you put up something, whatever content you put up, a supportive friend is I retweet, I share. I do everything as if I'm your only fan. And I think that's how you know someone is supportive of you, because you've removed the competition out of it. It's your success is your success. I should be able to be happy for that, be proud of that for you.
And then also I think it's important to say that support looks different for different people, different things.
Facts, yeah.
Because like you're not active on social media, but how you'll support, for example, my content is you'll give me feedback, or you'll maybe leave a comment, like things like that. There's different ways. Someone has a business, maybe you don't have the money to buy it, but you can share it on your stories. Or you can recommend it to someone when someone else is asking about, I wanted to get this. So there's so many ways that you can support someone.
I think just be proud of who your friend is. I think just being proud of your friend, to be like, you know what? They're my friend, they're doing this. Let me support that. And like you're saying, however way it comes, that's how you do it. And how would I say this? Continuous like encouragement.
Yeah.
Just allowing them to progress and just telling them the feedback,
being honest with them.
Exactly. I think that's being supportive in whichever regards, whatever they do. Just be able to tell them you're the best at what you're doing. Gas them, because Lord knows what people go through, like individually, how much self-doubt you have within yourself, how much like you don't really believe in yourself that much. Just having that one person in your corner and you being that friend to someone, I think be that person you want to have in your own corner. That's how I'd put it.
I also like to think that self-care is a part of being a good friend, because self-care in that you're trying to understand where you're at and what you're looking for in friendship, so that you're not wasting your time or anyone else's time. Because you can find that you're not being a good friend to someone because maybe you actually genuinely are not in a space to be friends with that person.
Yeah.
So you might find that you're struggling to support friends, but maybe you just need to direct your energy to a different friend type thing. Like you need to be able to understand where you're at, so that you're like, okay, this is genuinely my friend. I genuinely want to invest in this relationship, because you can't invest in all the 50 relationships equally. So you should be able to understand which ones are a priority for you, so that you're able to fully show up in those relationships.
I think without self-care, then it lends to being able to reevaluate your boundaries.
Yes, and communicate.
Being able to communicate those as you change and as you grow, as you understand yourself. I think that will allow you also to be a good supportive friend, because you are aware of your own boundaries, you're communicating them. That's happening. It's like an exchange that you're having.
Respecting theirs.
So I think that allows you to just understand where their needs are and how you can actually tap into that and actually make them feel kind of like they're already whole, but they feel supported and cared for by someone. I think just communicate. And the more as you grow, just communicate what you're going through. I think the more they know about you, the more they're able to understand. Okay, cool. And even just ask.
Exactly.
I struggle a lot when, and I guess it's just in my nature, I'm always able to get people to talk to me about like wild things, like, you know, still like a superpower, but it's the being able to create that space where I don't even need to ask anymore. It's just you're able to be like, hey, this is what I'm going through. It's not easy for everyone, but as long as you're a good friend and a supportive friend, they'll always know, okay, at least I know I can pick up my phone and talk to this person.
I think it's also the reverse of not being afraid like the way you ask them not being afraid to ask you.
Exactly.
Sometimes if you know someone is in your support system, you could be scared of asking them, but you could genuinely just be like, hey, can we please make time to have a phone call this week? I really need someone to talk to. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
It might not be that you can just pick the phone up and call someone immediately, but that doesn't mean they're not your friend. You can also just understand people have lives.
Yes.
So you can ask your friends to support you in ways which work for both of you. Yeah.
I totally agree.
And then let's not forget loyalty in friendships. Just be loyal to the people you're loyal to. You can't be loyal to everyone. Like, it's just how it is.
And be gentle. I feel like not everybody is at
100%.
where you are at.
Yeah.
Just being gentle, understand everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own time to get to where they need to get to.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah, everybody's going through their own things. So just be gentle with other people. Maintain the boundary, but just be gentle with people. I think it's nice if you have someone who's like
nice.
They're like nice to you.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that's pretty much it for this week's episode. That was fun.
Was dope.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave us a rating and a review.
Thank you so much again, just for listening, for all the support you guys show. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This has been episode 4 of the 7 Cents podcast, Relationship with Friends. My name is Eugene Geshaga.
My name is Edna Njeri.
See you guys.
See you guys next week. Bye.